Or you got something big today?
Something big. No, sorry, nothing.
Actually can see the first record in the grab bag.
He's cheating
This is
again. This
a
guy
grab
couldn't
bag
help
where
himself.
I can see the top record. Now, I usually don't know what he's brought from his collection,
Well,
but he
let's.
put it down right in front of my eyes. And he brought a San Francisco legend where I went to school and lived for most of
Did
my
you
life.
go with a San Francisco legend named Neil Sedaka?
Oh, that's a New
That's
York
right. That's
legend.
right. I threw him off. I wasn't going to take the top one. If he's going to cheat, I'm going to cheat. We're going to go right to the middle of the stack. So, what do you know about Neil Sedaka?
Well, you know what? I'll bet that there's not many people out there that have seen a live Neil Sedaka concert. I went to the Washington State Fair when Neil Sedaka was on his final tour before he completely retired and saw him. Okay? And there actually was a lady in the audience who had brought flowers and walked up to the stage and handed him a dozen roses. And I think he was just blown away. You couldn't believe that somebody would do that. And he had a huge audience because
Maybe her name was Carol, and she was 16
could
when he came out, and it was Happy Birthday, Sweet 16, and she just remembered it.
You know, I like all of Neil Sedaka.
Good.
The one he did with his daughter,
I don't know that one.
Walking in the Rain, maybe.
Walking in the Rain. He did do one walking. I think is that right?
But at any rate, you'll have to see if you'll check it out, and you'll know whether Dizzy is right again. But at any rate,
I have the album.
Yeah.
It is the later one, right?
yeah.
I didn't know he did with his daughter.
Look, few people have ever written as many hit songs as he did. And he
Yeah.
came out of the Brill Building,
I
where
believe- yeah.
Carole King and her husband were.
Terry Goffin.
Yeah, and there's so many great writers came out of that, and he was in their songwriting team.
Breaking up is hard to do.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. But so anyway, I've always enjoyed him, and of course, at my age of 78 now, I bridged many generations of music. I mean, in jazz, I went through Dixieland, and I went through
Well, you went through, but you still love it.
standard. I went through bop to hard bop, to
Free jazz.
fusion, free jazz, all kinds of things.
Well, I liked it. I had one of the 45s, Happy Birthday, Sweet 16, in my collection, but it was really probably Dizzy's collection or maybe Itchy's collection. I don't know. The 45s just got handed down. And so I had that one, and I played it. I liked it. And he's an artist. It was funny because you'd hear him in the 70s, and you're going, is that a woman singing? No, it's Neil Sedaka. He's just got a high voice. So I just enjoyed listening to him. I think he's a great one, along with Dizzy here.
Well, we don't have to feel sorry for Neil Sedaka. He had so many royalties and so many people doing his material. And he had such a long career. And he has a YouTube channel or whatever. And I'll say, because I've watched many of them, which he does from looks like a condo in New York.
I think I thought it was going
I would say he's done 50 of them. That's just a guess.
I saw him do something with somebody.
Yeah, and he likes to have guests come on. Yes, he does. And he's at the piano, and he's got like 5 numbers or so he's going to do per podcast. They're very worthwhile to watch.
Oh yeah.
So it's a San Francisco legend. Is this the record I saw earlier?
This is the one you saw earlier. Now go. Hit it.
Well, when I was in San Francisco after college, I would eat out at a restaurant that was on Union Street in San Francisco. And my favorite one was owned by Boss Skaggs.
He owned a restaurant.
Yes, he did. And then if I wanted to go to a nightclub, I'd go to his nightclub.
Yeah, nightclub?
Yeah. So and that nightclub was in business, because nightclubs usually perish really quickly. That was in business for a long time, but I think when it ended, he had already left the business. Probably got bought out or whatever, and sold his interest. But he's a terrific performer.
Yep.
I have a favorite record on Atlantic. Loan Me a Dime, is that what it is?
That sounds right.
I think
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Loan Me a Dime. And it turned out that he took credit for that record, for that song. And somebody was smart enough and clever enough to do some digging and found that that was done by an obscure black artist.
Surprise.
Yeah. And they fought like the Dickens to keep the royalties from that guy. Because he had long, I think, passed away, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
At any rate, but that's a terrific song. And he did it's like really long. I'll say it's 8 minutes long.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And it's on the very first Boss Skaggs record, which is on Atlantic, which is a great album. If you get it, you're going to love it.
Well,
if you
there's a
like
lot-
Boss
there's a lot-
Skaggs,
there's
that's
a
the
lot
one
of-
to
There's a lot
have.
of great records. I mean,
It's
Soaked
better than
Degrees.
Soaked Degrees.
Oh,
It's
wow.
better than Soaked Degrees.
Well, there's a lot of stuff, and even more recently, he's done some things, and his guitar soloing and everything is just
Kind of reminds me that I like the era of Steve Miller when he was more of a blues band than when he had all his abracadabra hits and things.
Right, right. You aren't alone in that one. Okay, how about Meet the Searchers? Needles and Pins.
Well, this is a British band, and of course, if you're looking up let's just say you did the 10 best British bands from the 60s, the Searchers are going to come up.
Would the Tremolos be in there?
No. Champ is misinformed on that one. Needles and Pins was a big
It
hit.
was. Tom
That
Petty
was all
covered it.
over the radio. It didn't matter what time of the day, you're probably going to hear Needles and Pins.
Yeah. Oh, I like it too. I'm with it.
Good group. Good group.
So, how about this artist?
Boy, oh boy, he's really impressing me. John B. Sebastian went to Woodstock to watch, to be a spectator, to enjoy Woodstock. Lo and behold, they can't get performers in because the roads are all clogged up. And they hadn't planned to bring people in by helicopter. So they have to arrange to get helicopters to bring them in. And here he is in the audience. Hadn't planned to play, he has no set list in his mind or anything, and goes up and he can make an album out of it. And when I watch the Woodstock film, he's right at the beginning almost. He's within the first hour and he nails it. He gives a terrific performance. And I saw him, maybe 2 years ago at the Everett Historic Theater in Everett, Washington. He can't sing the Loving Spoonful songs anymore.
I did the same thing. I saw him at Parker's, and I don't know, 30 years ago.
Yeah. But what he does do is he has a performance in which he's like doing his autobiography, and in between, with just his guitar, he brings it down into a key in which he can handle, which kind of changes the arrangement and the tune. Mm-hmm. But it's satisfying enough for us who really are big fans of him just to see him live and up front, personal.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad
He's a
it's
very
gotten little
personable
better.
guy. Mm-hmm. He's never anything other than who he really is. Mm-hmm. I like him. And I think John Sebastian probably is going to see this, and I want to thank him for all the years of enjoyment. I love his music.
I like how popular you think we are. Or we're just going to blow up. Anyway,
John, love you.
here's a little side note. On the back here, we got him in a tie-dyed jacket. And I remember our other brother at one point had taken tie-dyed and had tie-dyed a mechanic's suit, so coveralls. And he gave them to our mother for Christmas. These wild,
Bad idea.
these wild tie-dyed overalls. And I got a picture somewhere of her mowing the lawn.
I
with the
tie-dyed my
overalls.
own T-shirts. Bad idea.
Tie-dyed more than just your T-shirts after you did your first wash, huh?
Mm-hmm. You got one of my those things. I made it into a painting, and it's on a wall in your house.
Oh yeah, no, I love it. I love that. Yeah, it's great. I'll have to take a picture of that at some point. The Seeds. What do you know?
You're pushing too hard.
There
You're
you go.
pushing too hard.
Pushing Too Hard is on here. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And,
That's the album to have then.
And were they?
Wow, look at that. They took a black and white picture, added a little lime green to it, one color over it. That's about as cheap as you can get. And
Crescendo.
yeah, this is a really popular band from the 60s, and any of their albums, even obscure ones, go for good money because they have a following. They have a following. Even when the lead singer did solo albums, which I think there's only one, those are in demand as well. This is
Sky Saxon.
yeah. Ooh. And I believe he died early. Probably right at the time or so that the band was so popular. I don't know what happened to him. I just suspect drugs, that has happened to so many. But at any rate,
I have an album by Sky Saxon somewhere. Something like a Spoonful, maybe covered Spoonful on
yeah.
it.
Did you? So you said SKY, Sky Saxon, right?
Sky, yeah, SKY.
Yeah, yeah.
Saxon.
If you didn't pick that up, folks, it's an unusual name, Sky.
It is a little,
Yeah.
but cool band, fun music.
Good artist to look for, though.
How about the Shangri-Las? What do you know about the Shangri-Las, Dizzy?
Well, not much, but I'm going to have
That's
to
going to be
admit.
another one from the Brill Building, I believe. I mean, some
Was
of their
that
hits.
right?
I think some of those got written by Carole King, but Greenwich. That's right.
That sounds.
That's right.
Barry Greenwich. Am I getting that right?
E Greenwich. I think it's Ellie.
Oh, well, okay.
And Jerry and Lieber, Jerry Lieber and Mike Soler. So they were definitely.
What do you have one of their hits on this record, or this is a non-hit record?
Without my glasses, you do make it tough. How about Leader of the Pack?
Well, that must have been the hit then. I'm going to go with Leader in the Pack.
He had the motorcycle revving up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Right there, enough to get it. Just to
Champ,
have a motorcycle revving up.
Do you mind if I make an admission right now? I'm going to tell you that all these years, this record was made 50 years ago, at least. In all these years since it came out, I thought this was a black band.
Well, I can see things like that. You don't necessarily check it out, and
Screwed up.
yeah, I can.
And I've never seen the cover. This is the first time I've seen the cover. And you know what? I would not be surprised if I looked this up, that this might be a worthy record to have, because after all the thousands of records that I've looked at, I have not seen that album. So it's probably pretty rare. And, records that are 50, 60 years old, let's just face it, a lot of those hit thrift stores and the garbage can and everything else. And so if you find them, you really do have something. And I like the cover, very good cover. Let's show that cover again.
Okay,
That's a good looking cover.
I had something in my head, but it blew away. And
I have something in my head.
Came by me.
I like the graphics, and many bands. We showed some, like the Seeds band here.
Okay.
This is not exactly good graphics. Black and white pictures on a cover are not going to, shockingly, grab the eyes of anybody. You better have something on there that gets requested, because this is not going to stand out in a record store. Where that is really good graphics, and I like it. And it's got a hit on it.
Mm-hmm. I know what I was going to say. You talk about you didn't know what color the band was, that you thought they were all black. Well, how many think Booker T and the MGs were all black? Or they're on stacks, right? They stacked all these bands up, and Duck Dunn and Steve Cropper, a couple of white guys, and trumpet players, and or even the Swampers. There's another one, right? The Swampers. For Fame, which did all the backing for so many other Aretha Franklin and so
Well,
many.
you just think of soul bands from the
Yeah.
'60s as being black.
Yeah, that's it.
Aretha and all Joe Tex and all those guys.
But there's something to be said for just being good. Just be good. So how about this little duo? You remember them at all? They're called Simon and Garfunkel. They originally were named Tom and Jerry, but you know anything about
Well,
them?
I played the heck out of this album, and I still love to play it. Bridge Over Troubled Water, I can't get enough of that. And I think, for me, this is the best album that they did. Though, this is like comparing gold to gold,
Right.
you know. None of their albums are anything other than 5-star with me.
Yeah.
But you know what? This brings up this little word up here, quadraphonic. And lately, I've been listening to other vinyl channels, and they've been a lot of reissues right now. You know that?
No, I don't know.
Oh yes, you know you can get reissues of, say, Bob Dylan, and they'll go. Do you want a mono? Do you want a 2-eye, 3-eye? Do you want it
What's
after?
2-eye and 3-eye?
Well, 2-eye would be the earliest. 3-eye would be after. So that's many issues later.
So on the vinyl,
On the vinyl. So
Okay,
each
all right.
one, but that also would be on when the CDs come out and all that. But then they come out and they were quadraphonic, they were mo-fi, they've been remastered, and you know, and they come in
A certain person is remastered it.
and then somebody else remasters it, and then you got people quibbling over. I think the bass is better, or I think the drums stands out a little, or it's a little bit more accentuated, and you know. And I like go, that's too fine.
Can we just argue what sounds better, a CD or a record?
No, we're not going to do that. You know, that's one thing I do like about you. It's the music. It really is the music.
You bet it. Yeah, just play it. Play it. Put it on and let's heat it up.
Let's not quibble about that stuff.
That's right. Just listen to it and enjoy it.
You know, if I can't listen to a record, let's just say that it's kind of I won't take a completely trashed record, but if a record has flaws in it and this and that, but I really love it, that's okay.
Right.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can get it right now.
Yeah, I'll look for a better copy.
And a better copy is going to be $200 more. I go, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'll take with it.
I recently was in a record store, and found Triumvirat, and I like Triumvirat, and I have 3 other albums by Triumvirat, and I'd never even seen this album. I was going, Triumvirat, oh wow, cool, another prog rock record that I haven't ever heard. Let's check it out, and I put it on, and it was like, oh, this must be a different band, or.
Well, that can happen because members drop out and they can have a new vocalist.
I think it was the same guys. They just said, you know what, we got to change. You know, it was that time period. Where
Oh,
they're
that
going,
can happen
okay,
too.
We got to change, and it wasn't really working for me, so I didn't pick up the record. But you never know. A lot of those things you find. There was another one I found that King Harvest. They had a hit, "Dancing in the Moonlight."
I did like that, and I still do. Dancing in the Moonlight. That's a good.
It's a great.
good
Well,
song.
someone else redid it, and
I'll
it's
bet.
pretty close to the original, but it's still great. I like it. I still like it. So I grabbed. They had another record that didn't have that tune on it, but I listened to the first track and I went, yes, this has got some. I mean, it probably doesn't have a hit on that record, but it had some stuff on there that was interesting to me. And
If I was to give a shout out, I'll say this. I got Spotify thinking I'm probably not going to like this, but I can put in a group. Let's just say I put in Johnny Rivers, and I hear everything that Johnny Rivers had over 20 records. You know, and after I've listened to days and days of Johnny Rivers, I go, I don't think the guy put out a bad record. I really. And I had Sam DeSham, one night I listened to everything of Sam DeSham and the Pharaohs, and I go, solid group.
Yeah.
These guys are talented musicians, lyricists, singers.
I think that's somewhat rare. I think that's great. But I mean, especially if you listen to earlier albums, I remember Fontali Bass. I liked her stuff, and so I got the LP eventually, and Rescue Me, right? And so I picked up the album. The rest of the album, they just used filler, just filler to fill it, and to put out the another way to sell the record. But
Trivia, and I can't come up with the answer though. Fontella Bass was married to a famous musician and recording star, and I cannot, right off the top of my head, tell you who it is. But I know there's people out there that know the answer.
well, I might look
So
it up.
write it down there in the
I
text
might
to
put it
me.
down here somewhere.
You know, and the winner can buy me lunch. Isn't that nice of me?
That's always the way. Oh wow! How many times I've heard that line?
I promise to be a good guest. I really do. I will not cause a scene. I will not. I'll behave.
I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to think. Not cause a scene.
Yeah, it can happen. Really, it can happen.
All right.
And it is because I bang my fork and knife and everything on the table.
Wow.
I do not do that. Not anymore.
I was going to say. All
Hey,
right.
keep those cards, letters, and fan mail coming in. And don't forget the comments below.
I remember you are the champions.
Is it Frank White? Who's our
I
favorite
don't
fan?
remember. I don't remember. It's okay.
His last name is Mr. White then.
I do believe a Richard White. Oh, you
Richard
dug it
White.
out of my brain. There
I've
you go.
always wanted to meet Richard. Richard, if you're out there, contact me, will you?
He probably lives in France. All right.